اللهم صل وسلم على عبدك ورسولك وحبيبك ونبيك سيدنا Muhammad. I ask Allah to help me in this lesson because I'm very sleepy. I try to be focused, inshallah. And it's about the conflict. Allahu Akbar. Okay, last time we talked about that, how the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam deal with his wife and how he's the role model. Our lesson today is about if the conflict occur between the spouses, how they can deal with it Islamically. First of all, we have to know that conflict is normal. What is not normal is bad conflict. Conflict itself simply means we are human being. And a human being always have conflict, even between the best people. Fatima radiallahu anha and Sayyiduna Ali radiallahu anhu, they have a conflict in Sahih Bukhari. Rasulullah sallam came one day and he asked Fatima, where is your husband? He said there was a conflict between us, and he left the house. So Rasulullah sallam looked for Ali radiallahu anhu, and he found him in the mosque sleeping. So he said, Qum Aba Turab, Qum Aba Turab. He said that nickname became my favorite nickname. So this is between the best. Rasulullah sallam deal with the jealousy of his wives. The problem is not the conflict itself. The problem is how we deal with the conflict. So number one, we have to know it's normal. One of the reasons that some people, they can't understand that the conflict is normal, they want to marry someone just identical from their character. They want a spouse that think exactly like them, solve a problem exactly like them, deal with stress exactly like them. That you can't find a spouse like this. Both of you came from different background. And even difference is good, it's something beautiful. Some of you are calm, some of you are rational, some of you are emotional, and your children will take from a mix of this character. So don't assume that your spouse will be identical from your character. But what you have to do is try to understand your spouse. We talk in this series about the first year of marriage. And I said this is the most important year in your marriage. Because from that year, you will know, can you continue or not? Many divorces that you find, that two couples and they divorce after 25 years, 30 years. I claim that divorce, the problem starts from the first year. But just small problems, but they don't treat it well. Small comments, small habits, small misunderstandings, and they leave it. That's why we said before in this series that don't hide what you don't like in your spouse. Don't hide it. Just look for the right time, the right mood, and say it in the right tone, and be careful with your words. That's it, but don't hide it, because when you hide it, 1, 2, 3, many times, and then you just exploit it, you come like volcano. That's where the problems now become bigger and bigger. So, from the first year, the spouse should know each other very well. Means they know the triggers of each other. A mature spouses should not set up every week to talk about the same issue. Years they talk about the same issues. That's lack of maturity. So after the first, you know the triggers. You know how to handle the anger. You know what's make your spouse angry. You know the sensitive topic. So if you know that from the first year, the maturity here to deal with that wisely. For example, if the wife want always the house to be very clean, very organized, then you know she will come overwhelmed when it's become messy. Okay, help her and try to help before she asks. If the wife knows that the husband, the financial matters is very important for him, then reassure him before you spend. If you know that sensitive topic, don't come close to that area, try to solve it. So to know each other, that's very important. Okay, suppose now the conflict happened. What shall we do? The first advice here is keep it secret between you. Don't share it with your family, with your friends. Don't argue in front of your children. Don't ever argue in front of your children. So keep it secret between you. Because when you share it, three things will happen. Everyone adds fuel. Families get sides. And forgiveness become harder. Because others remember what you forget. So now the issue become difficult to solve. But when you keep it secret, that's where you can handle that problem. Okay. Treat it with maturity. Means set some boundaries. Number one, talk about that issue explicitly. But choose the right time. Brothers and sisters, never argue when you are angry. One of the most important skills that the spouses need, that when you are angry or when the spouse is angry, try one of you to stop that argument straight away. Don't ever argue when you're angry or hungry or when you are not in the mood. Because that argument, just shaitan put the fuel in that argument. But when you have an issue, okay, when you are in a good mood, set a time. Tonight we want to discuss this issue, or we'll go to a cafe and want to discuss this issue, or set the time. When you come, try to have a strategy. Before you talk about the issue, try to appreciate. The shaitan always loves the disagreement between spouses. يفرقون بين المرء وزوجه. Prophet ﷺ told us that shaitan sent his soldiers to make fitna between people. And then in the end of the day, they came to give a report for Iblis. He said, I did that, I did that. Iblis said, this is nothing, this is very small, this is nothing. Till one of his soldiers came and he said, I stay with the spouses till I separate between them. Iblis said, this is the great job. So that's why shaitan is always here in this. So that's why start with appreciation. You, mashallah, a good husband. You, mashallah, may Allah bless you. You are barakah in our life. Or you said, you, mashallah, good wife. May Allah bless you. You are. However, then discuss just one issue you don't like. One issue in one time. One of the problems in conflict that some of the spouses want to bring the whole history in that discussion. Try to focus on one issue only. Don't bring the history of the whole year. So you are in that issue, suddenly, yes. But 7 months ago, when we are in that time, this happened. Then you jump to another. These discussions go nowhere. So try to set a strategy here, a method for that. Appreciation first, then mention what you don't like in very polite way. Focus only in one thing. Express your feelings. Means, I feel upset when you do this. I feel unheard. I feel disrespected. I feel. Don't attack the other. So don't interpret that and jump to the judgment. No, just express what do you feel. Why you don't like this. And avoid some words like, you never do that. You always treat me like this. That always and never is big problems because they will interpret in different way. But here between practice is a message for all the men. When the woman said, you always do this, you never do that, they just their language out of emotion. They don't mean it. Take it from me, they don't mean it. And the evidence from that, the next day, when you remind her, you said, oh no, I don't mean it. That just they are more emotional than us. So because of that emotion, they always bring, you always do this, you never do that. Don't stop in this always or never. Just assume it's not there. Very important. So, then after that, when you express that, listen. Listen to understand, not listen to answer. Listen to understand. So you express your feelings. Now the spouse will respond. Listen. Listen attentively. We said in this series, listening is one of the most important skills. That's why Rasulullah ﷺ was the top of the men in this. We said Hadith Zar', 3 pages in Bukhari and Muslim. He never interrupted her. He never interrupted her. He listened attentively. Attentively means he chose some of the examples and so listen. And make sure when you listen that you understand the point properly. That's why it's good to repeat some of this. So you want to say that, very important. Okay, and after that, the one who complain about something, I don't like that this, bring a solution. Don't just explain your feeling. I feel that I'm unheard in this. I'm invisible. Okay, what's the solution? I just want you, when you come home, to give me a quality time. To then suggest a solution. Let us agree that there is 1 hour or 2 hours at home, there's no mobile phone. So we sit together, we have a quality time together. So suggest the solution. Then promise with a step, small step, you'll do it. And then follow up in the next week. That's what is mature spouses. Because the more, now you get married with 4, 3, 5 years and you're still in the same circle, that's a lack of maturity. So it's very important here to handle this with a certain methodology. When you do that, many of the issues will solve. 70%. I claim that 70%. I'm a counselor for more than 25 years. Of the problems is just because one of the spouse feel unheard. That's it. He wants the other to hear him or her. That's it. So when you listen attentively and you try and promise that you will solve, khalas. It's just they want to hear. They want someone to hear them. So that's some strategy of the conflict. Sometimes there's some issues. You have to seek help straight away. There's some certain issues. Number 1, if this ongoing argument for every single week, now you are for several months, you are in the same point. That means you need help. Second, if the problem is related to drugs or addiction or abuse, that means you need help. Straight away, you can't handle it. So seek help from a counselor or someone else is wise. So third, when some of the spouses feel insecurity or not safe, or he fear even from that, that means you need help here. But anything else, discussion with that maturity is very important. There is I have many examples that I face from the problems, but I will leave that for your questions. This is the first step between you. That's just the beginning of this conflict, inshallah. I will continue, inshallah, in the next week. Or receive your questions. If nothing, I will continue, inshallah, I don't want to take your time. For the sisters, there's a barcode you can ask. You'd come to me here. But how can I say it? Oh, it's broken. Allahu Akbar. How can you teach? Okay, how can you teach? Yes. We open for the sisters who watch us live. So we have some questions from sisters live. How can you teach your children from newborn age? Newborn age. Arabic if you or your parents cannot speak Arabic. Okay. First of all, I appreciate the sister that she wants to teach her children Arabic, because Arabic is the gateway for Quran. One of the most important gifts you can give to your children is to teach them Arabic, because you open the door for Quran to understand and implement. Okay, what if we are non-Arab? The best way is, number one, let them watch a cartoon only in Arabic language, only in Fusha, in Arabic language. Because children in very young age, they imitate. They just learn by imitations. So I know some cases like this. They, mashallah, become very, mashallah, nice in Arabic just from the cartoons. Number two, when they are in a certain age that they can read and write, then look for a good teacher that they will teach them Arabic. Number three, which is the best, the parents themselves should start their journey with Arabic language. It's not too late. Learning has no age. If you have that motivation and inspiration, you can do it. Especially nowadays, we live in a time that learning languages become very easy. A lot of apps, a lot of programs, so try to register yourself in a program to learn Arabic. We have in Alfurqan college here, Arabic language for adults. May Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala bless them. Yes, any brothers want? Or come back to sisters? Okay. No? Okay. Go to sisters then. Yes, Shane?
Some of, like, say, some of the young, they think the first year is like a trial.
Sorry?
First year of marriage is like a trial.
Like?
Trial and error. If you can't do it, don't continue.
يعني ايش بالعربي؟ محاولة. Okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, what I think is like the first year is a learning curve. You learn from your mistakes. Rather say, say 1 year, I mean, we're not compatible with khalas. So like my thing is like, say, they should not consider it like, okay, the year 1 is for the marriage is just the test cases. If you pass it, we continue. We fail it, we just look for another one. Mine is like, learn from your mistakes. And it's a sum which you need, the man is responsible to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if he is doing some mistake. It's not like something, okay, we have one finished, we need to go and look for something else.
Okay. Brother here said that the first year of marriage is very important, but he said it's not just that we know each other. If in the end of the year there's problems, then we separate and give divorce. We should just learn from our mistakes. That's absolutely, I agree with that. But I said in the first year, if the conflict become bigger and you can't handle it, and you ask counselor, and then the family is involved in that, and there's no solutions for that, that's a sign that you are not compatible. It's better after try everything to get divorced that time than just be blind about these problems and stay with each other, get children, and after 20 years you get married. You get divorced. That's not good. Trying definitely the best. Handle it, counseling, involvement, try everything. But what if? Because some norms and traditions, they try everything and they know there's no way for reconciliation, but because of norms and traditions, divorce for them is one of the major sin. Not just traditions and norms. Divorce in a situation where you try everything and strive is a solution. Is not a major sin or not a sin, is a solution, but only when you try everything. Divorce also from the beginning, without trying anything, it means you just treat this marriage as a playing. So there is always balance. Okay, how to keep up with right prayer after parenthood whilst working. Okay. Miskina. She say how I can keep my prayer after. That means this sister is exhausted of parenting. That means a husband here doesn't help. Wallahu alam. So it's a message first for your husband to help you in this. Yes, sorry.
Sorry, I think the question said, how do we keep up with the Tahajjud night prayer?
Tahajjud.
Night prayer.
A night prayer. You should read the questions. Night prayer after parenthood. Okay, night prayer has a secret. If you look at night prayer, if you calculate the times and hours, like you look at it just as accountant, I have to sleep 8 hours, then I have to go to job, then I have to wake up for Salat Fajr and then help, then there is no time for night prayer, X, khalas. If you calculate it like this, you'll never pray at night. But night prayer needs just one thing, as a secret. The secret is, the more you believe that that night prayer is necessary for your heart, you will do it. If you don't do it, there's a lack of belief. You still think that that night prayer is something very good, I like it, why you don't try? It's not about this. It's big honor that the Creator Almighty invited His servants to a special meeting. And He will say He will never refuse any response. Just stand up and ask me. And then the majority of servants, they are sleeping. And what's their excuse? We want to run for rizq. Ar-Razzaq invited them. And their excuse, we want rizq. Or they're afraid there's no time. The one who put barakah on time invited them. And they say we're afraid about no barakah. So the way you look at Qiyamul Layl, it can solve everything. When you know it's a special meeting and it's a big honor, you'll wake up without alarm. All the people I witness in my life, they wake for Qiyamul Layl, they never put alarm for Qiyamul Layl. They never put it. Because when build that habit, you don't need alarm. But how to put that habit is increase the knowing of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Increase the necessity of that Qiyamul Layl for your heart. When you do that, Allah will put barakah. But there is one thing make very difficult in our time. The lifestyle we live in. We always sleep very late. Sleeping in the beginning of the night are barakah. One night equals 3 nights in the end of the night. That's the problem here. So you try to sleep very late and you want to wake for Qiyamul Layl. That's make difficult for you. However, if you make that habit, even if you sleep late, you will wake up. But that's just for people, they treat this as a habit. But for the beginning now, try to sleep early and tell yourself, Allah will put barakah in the whole day. Something else also, Qiyam al-Layl need a nap, a sacred nap during the day. That's why Rasulullah ﷺ never miss that nap. Because that nap is very important. Because you can't wake up before Fajr and you still awake till the late night, that's exhausted. So, in short, it's all about just change your mindset about Qiyamul Layl and you will pray bi'idhnillah. Yes.
Suggestion for somebody who has been in a difficult marriage for a very long time. Somebody who's gone through that initial 10, 20 years. What can they do now?
Okay. If two couples, they have a long conflict for 20 years, suppose, and they have children, what they should do now? Okay, number one, if they try everything, do they go to a wise person, a counselor who has long experience in this? He can look at the issue from different angle. Sometimes the issue, you just need to look at it from different angle. So, for example, sometimes a couple come to you and they, mashallah, they are very good together, amazing together. But the problem is the in-laws interfere in details in their life. So they have a panic attack, they are very exhausted now. I say to them, the problem is not in-laws. The problem is in yourself. You are the one who accept that. You should just set boundaries and strengthen your character. Suppose you go to a counselor and it doesn't solve. Will the divorce be the best? It depends. Because of that 20 years, now the priority should be to the children. Sometimes you be patient and just because of your children. That's why I said if it doesn't solve in the first. So if there's a children, then look and study the case very carefully. How that can affect the children. Look at details and imagine all the plan. Divorce is not a word. It's a big plan. That's why when Allah talk about divorce in Surah Al-Talaq, He talk about divorce only in 1 ayah and half. The rest of the surah is what after divorce. Because what after divorce is the most important. So if that will affect children immensely, be patient and stay in that marriage. That's all. If sometimes staying in that marriage affect children badly, because everyday argument, everyday insulting, everyday, if that's the thing, there's a separation. Not divorce, but separation from in different houses. That could be another solution also. If that doesn't work, then divorce is the solution also. We'll talk in this series about the divorce, and we remove some misconceptions that many people look at divorce from traditions and norms, not from Quranic perspective. We'll go through the ayat of Surah Al-Talaq, inshallah, in this series. Yes. Omar.
Sheikh, the next question is,
You choose the question.
what advice would you give to a sister who doesn't want to get married because she knows it will limit her from doing other good deeds like the Hajj or taking care of parents?
Like Hajj or take care of parents. Tahajjud, subhanallah. Okay, a sister said she doesn't want to get married because she feels that marriage will prevent her from taking care of her parents or Qiyamul Layl. MashaAllah, may Allah bless this sister. Send me your CV marriage, I have a good husband for you. InshaAllah. Okay, for the sister, I would say first, just how you look at marriage, you need just to change your mindset. Marriage in Islam, when Allah talk about marriage, this is a type of worship, a big type of worship. As Allah will test you, how you take care of your children, of your parents, how you pray at night. There's another type of test in this life, which is marriage. So we go through this life through a lot of tests. And this is one of the most important tests. That's why Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, when He talk about His prophets, He'd say, وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُلًا مِّن قَبْلِكَ وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُمْ أَزْوَاجًا وَذُرِّيًّا. He said, the prophets we send, they get married, they have children. Why? Because this is one of the most important tests also in your life. Allah wants to see if you please Him also in all type of tests. That's number one. Number two, if you choose a pious man, he will help you to take care of your parents. He will help you in Qiyamul Layl. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that if the spouses, if the couples pray just 2 rak'ah in Qiyamul Layl, kutiba min al-dhakirin Allah kathiran wal-dhakirat. They did very little, but because of the barakah of zawaj and gathering in ta'atullah, Allah will reward them immensely. So He will help you with taking care of your parents. He will help you in Qiyamul Layl. He will make this easy for you. He will make the path of Jannah easy for you. You just need to change your mindset about this zawaj. Yeah. There's sometimes a certain situation where the sister is the only daughter for her parents. Yes, in this case, that should not prevent you from zawaj, but you should set some conditions with the man who wants to get married with you. So said, I can't leave my parents. I'm the only daughter for them. Maybe they are old, they need me. If you accept this, we'll go for it. If not, then I will stay with my parents. So that should not prevent you, but set conditions. If you are the only daughter and they need you. If you don't find anyone in that condition, then stay and help your parents is better. Allahu Alam. Yes? Children. Okay. Is this something very big or something a daily life? Okay. If they have conflict upon how they raise their children. Okay, this is a very important question because the conflict here can cause a lot of problems for children. Someone always say yes and the other always say no. So the children are very clever. If no from that parent, they will go straight away to the other parents. That's why the parents should always have harmony in their upbringing. They should set some rules. And they should have some agreement. If something red line, then we should know both. If something is flexible, then he can go to mother. Sometimes everyone play a card. Sometimes I'm the one who's serious. She's the one who's soft. But that's just in the flexible areas. But if it's red line, they should have agreement in that. Setting rules at home is very important upbringing. Because upbringing with a certain habits that will make that life easy for the children. What confuses children is when you say to them no, and then yes, then that confuses them. But if something is very certain, no, stay with that no. But sometimes you say, oh, for example, chocolate is not healthy, and one day, so look, let's celebrate chocolate tonight. Bismillah, one night is okay. If they are in very small age, that confuses them. They don't understand this. That doesn't make sense for them. Or you say, don't eat chocolate, and you hide yourself with that chocolate. So don't confuse your children. Set harmony between parents. That conflict can confuse him a lot. There always should be red flags or something non-negotiables at home. So coming late in certain times, for example, delaying the prayer, for example, that sitting, that learning Arabic, for example, that's certain. In the beginning, they just don't like it. After that, they will be very happy because a human being likes something very organized. They don't confuse with that. They don't have to think. The lifestyle is very clear for them. The curriculum is very obvious for them. Allahu alam. Yes. La ilaha illallah. Go on. Okay, very good. What if the conflict regard to the children is very big? Some of the parents want to take the children back home, and the other want to raise them here. Okay, that's a big conflict. They should have discussion in that discussion, and that discussion everyone bring his or her arguments. Why this is why? What's the benefits? What's the positive side? What's the negative side? And all of this, and they agree with one agreement. If the conflicts or the discussion go nowhere, and in this time, it's good to involve someone wise in that. Very important, because maybe that someone will let you see the situation from different angle. When you want to do a plan like this, a big plan, don't say, that's my opinion and that's it, even you are the man. No, you have to bring a lot of argument. Okay, why you want back home? Because I want this, 2, 3. Did you study the case studies of those people who went back home? Did you do some search about this? What about this? What about these problems they will face? What about big decisions need careful study? But sometimes you take decisions just like this, and we say, because I'm the one who... No, we should always... These big decisions. Because why big decision? Because if they back home and suppose the other parent doesn't want to, that means there's a division here in the family. That means one of them will go and the other will separate, and so we can't take one decision separately. Okay, if in the end of the time, if they are too mature, they will go with the wise decision. But sometimes I think, from my experience, the problem is just lack of clarification. And some of them want just to make the decision because I'm the one who in charge. Without explanation, without further study, without all of these things. But suppose it's now not in the back home, that's a big decision, could lead to separation of the family. But suppose that is in daily life. Okay, so the brother said no, there should be this night, no one late after that. Okay, they should set a plan here. If this is very flexible, it's just daily life. It's a wise from one of the parents to give the other to be in charge, because this is not a big deal. And I advise all my sisters and daughters here, if the decision is just in this daily life, and this will lead a big conflict, let your husband to set that rule. If it's a big decision like going back home, I will advise the brother to explain his idea very well and seek advice from a wise person. Allahu Alam. Yes. Umar, yes. Sorry, Salman, I will come to you.
Someone asked that they've been having problems with their husband for many years. The husband is refusing to go counseling. What should they do?
Two couples, they have problems for many years, and the husband refused to go to counseling. Tell him to come to Masjid Alfurqan. Okay. So the best solution is just for the sister to speak to imam or the local imam that brother pray. If he pray in the masjid, talk to that imam. The imam will talk kindly, wisely with that person to bring him to the counseling. That's the only solution. She can't, there's no force here, but there is always convince. Or one wise from their relatives, he can speak to that man. Or if that doesn't work, the sister come to the masjid and talk about this issue, and the masjid will deal with that person wisely, inshallah. Yes, Salman, sorry.
So, Sheikh, what's the best approach if you feel your parents don't treat you fairly compared to your siblings?
Okay. What's the approach if you feel that your parents doesn't treat you fairly? Like they treat their children. Okay, this is a very sensitive topic. And I want to send a message for parents first that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that سَوُّوا بَيْنَ أَوْلَادِكُمْ اِعْدِلُوا بَيْنَ أَوْلَادِكُمْ. Treat your children fairly, because that could lead to a broken heart, to a psychological problem, sometimes trauma. That's why Rasulullah sallam emphasized that a lot. So, and Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala told us the story of Yusuf, and they just felt jealousy of Yusuf. So jealousy can happen between the siblings, and sometimes the parents just as the fuel or plant the seed of that jealousy by treating them unfairly. Okay, that's a message for the parents. What about the child himself, or that brother or that sister? I would say, number one, talk to someone wise also. If that child have uncle, wise uncle, talk to him about this, and he will talk to the father. Very important. Or come to the imam, talk to him. If that parent attend a masjid, and that's the duty of the imam to talk. That person should interfere someone. Usually parents, they don't listen to their children, especially in this type of cases. So we should involve someone in this case, especially if that treating is immensely unfair. May Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala guide us. Yes, Umar.
There's a few people that have asked that they have gone through divorce and they feel a lot of regret and they don't know what to do now. Like,
Go through divorce.
yes, they feel very sad and regretful and they don't know what the next step is. They don't know how to proceed with it.
So few people or few sisters, they went through divorce and they regret. Okay, we didn't talk about divorce yet. We'll talk about divorce later. We have to look at the study case by case, because I don't know, I don't have information here. Because to say regret, it depends. Maybe you didn't solve the problem and go on all the steps. Maybe the divorce is very quick decision. There's a lot of possibilities. But that doesn't mean every divorce means regret. I know some case of divorce, they are very happy now. So not every divorce lead to regret. Divorce is very simple in Islam. If it's the last decision, probably there is no regret. If it's the first decision, there will be regret. So it's always the last solution after you go through all of this. If it's the last solution, then probably there's no regret. If it's the first solution, probably there's regret. That's what Allah mentioned in the last. Yes. Yes. And say it again.
If you're told, let's say you're talking to your spouse, and let's say they start to get rude or they get agitated, what's the best way to go about it?
Okay. If you speak to your spouse and he get rude, how can you deal with that? We said that the spouses should know each other and should know the triggers of each other. Number one, don't hide it. If you say it in the same time and he's rude or he's very angry, keep quiet. Later, when he or she is in the mood, that's the time we have to talk. Don't hide it ever. We have to talk. You are a good spouse, mashallah. However, there's something red line for me. To be rude to me, that's unacceptable. You can disagree with me. We can have different opinions. But rudeness, no. This is red line. I suggest to set boundaries. There's this word or that word or nicknames or insulting. This should be red line. Don't hide that. But when you hide it, and then that will become bigger. Yes, Ilya.
Well, yeah, every time you set an appointment, one of the spouses postpones it and wants to make another appointment at a later time. And it just keeps going.
Say it again.
One spouse keeps setting the appointment for a later time.
Keep repeat themselves the same argument.
No, they don't argue.
Okay?
They say, oh, we'll do it tomorrow.
Okay?
Then tomorrow they say we'll do it tomorrow.
Okay. So one spouse, they promise that they will fix this problem, or they will not do these bad things, but they keep doing it. Okay, that's where the problem will become bigger now. And they need, if they can't solve, they need to involve someone. They need to involve someone. Yes?
What if the conflict is based on a ikhtilafi masala?
Like what?
Two opinions on a matter, and wife is following one and husband is following the other.
Islamically, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. What if the conflict based on different opinion in Sharia? Okay, very, very, very good question. So the wife follow the Hanafi madhab, for example, here, and the husband follow the other madhab in here. Okay. In the differences between the madhahib, the qaida here is they should, number one, if you know in the beginning, before marriage, that you come from different background and different madhahib, you should discuss that before marriage. One of the famous issue here, if the husband wants someone niqabi, for example, and niqab is a disagreement between scholars, for example. So the Shafi'i, Maliki, Hanafi, for example, it's not obligatory. The Hanbali is obligatory. So this is a disagreement between madhahib. So if that's the case, you should discuss before marriage. That's very important to solve this problem. Okay, imagine now you are after married, and there is issue for sometimes in traveling, in niqab, in going to the mosque, in all something. We should know that, number one, any mas'ala that the four madhahib make ikhtilaf, we should be a bit flexible in that. Because that's all in the area of personality. Still we are in this area. But if you don't like to follow that, you have to discuss here. There's no force here because it's all Islamically. If not, involve someone. But probably we have to be a bit flexible when someone follow another madhab. Yes. Umar?
Sheikh, there's a few questions about husbands being addicted to social media, and because of that they, see other women without hijab and so on and so forth. And there's a lot of comments about that making the women jealous and they're very unhappy. So how should they proceed with this?
So there's several questions from sisters that some husbands, they become addicted to see another woman in social media with non-hijab or with all this crazy stuff, and they start to compare, and then the woman became jealous. Yes, that's one of the big problem nowadays, unfortunately. One of the fitna nowadays in the end of the time. The more you lower your gaze, the more Allah will put barakah in your marriage. And the more you just open your gaze everywhere, the more the trouble and the problems in marriage will increase. So it's a message for all the men. Lower your gaze. Don't compare your wife with something in social media just filtered, scripted, and just you don't know what's the life behind this scene. A lot of celebrities, they live a miserable life, but you see only what is in screen in front of you. Ittaqullah, fear Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. If you want barakah in your marriage, taqwa Allah, put barakah. If you lower your gaze and you don't look at these crazy things, Allah will make your wife the most beautiful woman in the world in your eyes. That's one of the barakah Allah will give you because you lower your gaze. But if you open your eyes everywhere, there's always troubles. Shaitan is always there. Is always there. So we have to know that this is not a small issue. This is a big issue. Because this nowadays, with that algorithms, you become addicted. Sometimes you can't solve the problem by yourself. You need a therapist or a psychologist even. Why? Because you become addicted. Sometimes it damages your brain. You become a lack of chemical substance in your brain just because of this. If you go to pornography, and that become more even severe, and that will damage your life. And that all start with that just one looking to something not permissible. Think always when you have children, and do you want your children to go in this path? Do you want your daughter that everyone just to treat her like this? Think about that. You'll come back and behind all of this, we are in this life for a test. And Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is watching us. May Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala guard our gaze, our eyes. May Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala protect us from fitna. Last question.
For a hijab woman, how much makeup is allowed, and is it the responsibility of a husband to make sure she doesn't go out with too much makeup?
Okay. We said we have a series about all the zina, fiqh zina, inshallah. We talk about what is allowed, what is not allowed. In the brother and sister both, inshallah, in details. Allahu alam. Yes. Last question. If the spouses don't appreciate each other, that whoever they do should come to the mosque. Okay, number one, that's a lack of taqwa. The more they are close to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, the more they know that marriage is a type of worship and Allah tests you. So you try to do your best to succeed in that test. Marriage, ya ibadallah, is a test. It's a type of worship. Allah is watching us in marriage. To treat your spouse in the best manner, that's not option. That's not an option. That's obligation. Allah is watching you. Will you do it properly or not? If you treat zawaj with this mindset, everything will be good. So you appreciate because you want to please Allah in that marriage. You lower gaze because you want to please Allah. You will do your best to your family because you want to please Allah. You will compliment and praise your wife because you want to please Allah. It's a ibadah. So when you do that, wallahi, you'll see barakah in your life. Barakah in your life, and when you come home, you'll feel really tranquility and peace. Allahu a'lam. Sallallahu ala abdi wa rasuli Sayyidina Muhammad. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.